Good morning. This mess has been going on for at least a month, and it's not over. I mean, it looks like markets could make new all-time highs, but overall, as you look around the charts, things are pretty chaotic. This whipping up and down. Um, Looking for the drawing tool here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm putting them up there. All right. So, look, the different variations of this, and certainly this looks like it could go higher. The Q's even more so. And a lot of them, however it forms, has this area of support. And with any of these kind of patterns, these distribution patterns, it always comes down to do they actually follow through or not. So, this being the right shoulder now today or yesterday prices got above it, that leads to the thought that it's going to move higher. We'll see. We'll see if it does. And just this chaotic kind of a pattern is everywhere. Kind of a rolling correction that's been going on, yet the internals do not reach an extreme to say the coast is clear. Um, and these wild moves of, you know, let me make this a little thinner. Um, Extremes of the advancers minus decliners, negative on one day, positive to an extreme on the other day, negative the next day, extremely positive the next day, yet we're essentially in the same place we were a month ago. So a lot of uncertainty, a lot of craziness back and forth. And you know, is it over when the government opens? I don't know. Uh, but let's look around. So the Qs look like, why aren't they up already? They're just consolidating here near the highs, but they certainly look like with a move like this that started on Friday, it should just go through those highs. 1 second. Um, yeah, I mean it's right there, knocking on the door. There's resistance right there, and it's just holding for the moment. So that's positive. It's holding there. We'll see if it violates the pre-market lows or not. Um, set an alert down here if we do have a down day and it comes down into this area. Ideally, it would come down there fast, something like this. I mean, it wouldn't be a move of that big, but you get what I mean. 1 or 2 bars or 3 bars, whatever, coming down there fast, and that's where we get the bounce trade down off of support. And maybe that's in the cards today or not. We'll see. Or it just could be a consolidation day as prices are up there near that resistance and we're waiting for who knows what. The Russell, I think, has the best potential, maybe for either direction. But you see, this moved up to a new all-time high after the big down day, totally negating the down day. And if it can get through here, it's got room to run before it reaches resistance. So I like that. A gap down a little bit here, pre-market, it's going nowhere. So day to day, it's like, okay, which way are we going to go and why? In essence, everything's, I think, just trading off of support and resistance levels within an overall. And this isn't an uptrend, whereas spiders and Qs, I refer that to, well, this is, well, sideways. As it comes all the way back down to major support like that, it puts the trend in question and back up again. So, sideways. We'll see if it can make new all-time highs today and push above that level. Uh, the Dow, similarly, you see different patterns of erratic price behavior. After this day with the China tariff comments, and it's just been back and forth since. And so these kind of patterns, other than intraday, for me, they're just not tradable. There's no meaning there's no reason to trade them. What we want to trade is when things tighten up, not when they're all over the place like that. Um, so if we're to tighten up here, some sideways consolidation, maybe some news comes and up and away, or back down. You can see there's quite a bit of red here not enough red anyway. Difference on the futures. We'll take a look at that. And so gold, finally a little crack in the armor there. Still in an uptrend, which is big, wide bars. So this needs to correct a bit. It's down on some major support, so that may attempt to hold since it's down there. You can see, looking to the left there, just whipping back and forth. Well, if you trade this, maybe you want to take a look at the intraday time frame and see if it begins to stabilize, to flip back up. All right. Silver also taking a hit and coming down, even down toward the rising 20 MA. Should be buyers down there. That's the assumption that we make. And it has to come all the way down to those lows. There was this spike to the downside. So this is what I'm talking about. If the markets would do that, a spike to the downside and then get some stabilization as things begin to stabilize on a smaller time frame. Did I close that by mistake? The chart, I guess I did. I must have hit the X. Anyway, we could use the 15. Begin to stabilize down there where you get a counter trend trade. Looking at the futures, it's very similar. You're sideways, not doing too much. So it could move lower. We're coming down into this area. There should be buyers, and yesterday's high for the moment is a small area of resistance. Cues. So this has to be moved up there and just consolidating after a strong move up. Just backing and filling. There's a little void to the downside. And, at this point, it should not come back down here again after a move like that, common sense. But if it comes down here, there should be buyers willing to step up. That's the assumption we make. When what was resistance becomes support, if it retests it, you look for buyers there. Right? Simple stuff. And the Dow, make adjustment. Not too much room to the upside before it's going to hit a stiff resistance area. So, unless it violates this pre-market area, and it's not gapping down significantly, maybe it's going to be like a go nowhere day. It's got room to fall, but the strength of that move up would suggest not. It won't fall much. And typically after strong moves, you get sideways movement that consolidates the gain. And since it's at resistance, that makes sense to me. All right. Russell futures, they're down a little bit here. Some support, marking time. And I took my 5-minute chart away. I duplicate it to 5-minute. All right. Oh, it's coming down to these pivots. It's a messy pattern, right? It's down there. Let's see if it can stabilize or possibly. Let's scroll this back to just look at something here. What's been happening quite a bit lately, this erratic price behavior, would be to look for something like this, some little dip down that whips right back up again. So it looked like a 2 bar or it looks like a 1 bar. We look for some kind of a whipsaw, where it attempts to move to one side, and ideally, like here, it's down near that prior low there. Um, it just attempts to whip down and it whips right back up again. Uh, that would be something to be on the watch for, to see if that happens, after a few minutes of trading. Bitcoin really getting shellacked here. But, this is the thing when you look at a minder like this, it's like, wow, look at all the red, look at the numbers. And, but it's just trading within a range. It's just the ranges are huge at this point. So on some support, overall, just another mess. Another mess. Uh, Crude oil, it's holding here for the moment. It's on a little bit of support on this bar right here, this little poke bar or whatever. It's not a pivot. Was it two higher lows to the left there, and then it ripped back up? So there's some support right down here around this $55 area. We'll see if that begins to stabilize or whether it's heading way down there. Bonds are consolidating at resistance. Uptrend supports a bias that's going to go higher. We got a red bar ignored at resistance for the moment, which means interest rates are going lower. And oil going lower and interest rates going lower, that implies a belief that the economy is weakening. Right? Less demand for energy, less demand for money. Yet equity markets don't give a darn. Doesn't matter. So there's, these warning signs are out there, but you can't fight it. And look at this rounding top on the financials, big down bars. It whips right back up again. It's like buyers are just kicking and screaming that they are not going to allow this market to go down, or they just believe it's going to go up. So buy every dip. And that's okay, I guess, if you have a long-term perspective and you're going to sit through this mess. But for those of us that are actively trading either day or swing, well, this is not a swing pattern. This is chaos. Um, Regional banks, chaos. Uh, and the Fed will cut rates. It's already priced in. To some extent, Robert, it is, but there's always that, you know, rally when they do it. I mean, how bearish would that be if they came out and cut and the market tanked? But, we just have to see what happens when, does the government open and what are they going to do? But here's software, just whippy price action. So we could look at lots and lots of charts. And the takeaway is going to be that there's a lot of uncertainty and whipping around and a rolling correction. Well, we hear that the market is knocking on the door of new all-time highs. But we know under the hood, by looking at all of these charts, things are not so rosy. Technology is coming back. It's just whippy. There's this uncertainty. Call it tariffs or whatever it might be. But charts like this communicate, stay away. Get away from this mess. Yep, I'm gonna do that TV back. Okay, so more of the same. No point. I don't have to repeat any of that. So let's look at spiders on SPX. So where are they here? Essentially down a little bit, close to unchanged, give or take, near the top of yesterday's bar. And after this up move, I would hope that the call strike is way above there. That's where it should be. And yesterday, the extreme was just touched. So these give extreme levels And the downside has just been pretty much a no-brainer. Let's see here. $66.40, $66.45. Depends. A little dip down would make $66.40, $45. See where this is. $67.70. So yesterday the high volume strike was $67.40 and got to 44. That's a good reference to keep an eye on. That is not that far away. That's interesting. Most times after an up day like that, this would have been way up there, and it's not. So maybe a little bit of you know, uncertainty about that. Not so bullish, but it is what it is. It's not a new version, Frenchie. I stopped using eSignal. They I have it for end of day data, but for intraday data, they're not a brokerage firm. I'm going to hand this over to you, Dan. You can load up if you want. They're not a brokerage firm. So, if you trade through TradeStation or a lot of these other places, you get the platform for free. And, they kept upping the price over the years. So it's quite expensive. And I just, I've had this platform for, well, 25 plus years, I guess, something like that. I have a lifetime license. So I started using this. So this is NinjaTrader. It's a good platform. Actually, the way it manages the trades is way better than eSignal. It's primarily used for futures is how I used it, but I started using it for stocks too. The internals I still have in eSignal. They're neutral. So, you can see the McClellan oscillator right there. This is just the day to day. So it's neutral. I can post it in the room, the other ones.
And then, yesterday we thought it was going to be a go nowhere day too, but the morning ripped for like 45 minutes, and then it was boring the rest of the day. So I'm glad that we're gapping down here, and so we'll be monitoring, retracement levels. That's Oscar Charlie. I have an alarm retest of a Climo. Reddit. I don't. Well, all right. So it's gapping to yesterday's high, but it still feels like you're kind of swimming upstream here, top of the range, market pulling in. I personally wouldn't touch it for at least a 30-minute high. Let's see what it does. Alarms here. I don't have many at all. Coin. Now we did a put spread with a break-even stop. A bid I posted. We were watching that yesterday, and because of that topping tail over there on Thursday, I said I'm not touching it yesterday. I wanted it to close strong at that topping tail. We got a 5-bar turn here, and now today you can buy with that. So that's the only new trade I just posted. We did have a number of bullish trades yesterday, and that's it on alarms. Let's go right to let's go right to earnings here. AGNC. I actually bought some $10 calls. very cheap, like 20 cents. It's going nowhere, so I'll just look to bail at the open. I'll put it down there, keep an eye on it, but nothing to do now. Over yesterday's high, put spread, but there was no premium. That's what made me consider buying calls, because the premiums were horrible. And I've deleted a few here already, so if I miss an earnings one, ask me. There's more regional banks that look like this with down bounce. What am I going to do with this? I mean, maybe a Condor, but I seriously doubt there's going to be premium. It has to be the 56s and 46s with $10 wide Condor on these things whipping around, but you got to go do the grunt work, go see what the premiums are, the spreads, days to expiration. All right, this is wow, that's a big gap. But it's run from 90. My bias maybe is 30-minute low call spread for Friday. Today's Tuesday, so we have 4 full days, 3 nights. RLI, I see one print up here at 64, but unless it's liquid, I don't trust it. GE, I was bullish yesterday. This is a big old bull well, not a rectangle because it's too long, but it's just a bullish consolidation of an uptrend. All-time highs. Wow. I mean, I'm sure those GE board members are getting compensated very well when they split this thing into 3 companies. So this is the original one. And then they got something health, GEHC, and some, I forget the third one. But now that's a buy on a pullback. That's a beautiful gap. So GE. So let's put that right here. That's a quality gapper. I mean, even though it's up it's up $7-8. But still, I mean, there's a 310, so it's not like some of these that are gapping way off the chart. Let's see how it retraces. Yeah, GE Vernova. All right, that one's lagging, but still, this thing's doubled, tripled, whatever. And yeah, GEHC is the third one. That's a Condor setup again. You know, condors are when you have identifiable major pivots of support and resistance with MAs going sideways. So if somebody wants to look, earnings 29, so we could do one for Friday if there is anything. Yeah, I'll just eyeball it right now real quick. That's a great pattern for a condor. The 78s, 15 by 40, so that kills it right there. Oh, I mean, this thing usually is a slug, so that's a big gap for a slug. I always look at the cousin Pepsi. Pepsi's been stronger, but no pattern on either one. Now Papa Mike, yeah, I saw it up. Now it's down. It's in a downtrend. I gotta come back to it. RTX 171, gap's too big. I was considering a put spread on this yesterday. I think the spreads were too wide. DHR 223, gap's too big, but bullish. LMT, there's a military on the downside, but still holding this prior pivot, no pattern. Bolti getting whacked pretty good. Well, that's a big gap. I wonder how that will drag. Yeah, see how those sectors gapping down here? I mean, not nearly as bad, of course. Yeah, I am Greg. I just didn't turn my head. All right, so Ertele Tech, this thing. Nice weekly, been stalking. The problem is earnings are tomorrow, yeah. But it is bullish consolidation, but it's whipping around. More of a put spread, but just forget about it with earnings tomorrow. And ENPH, that is just a horrible looking pattern. Or totally, I mean, there is no pattern. There's no pattern other than a condor, other than selling a 33 put spread and 41 call spread. There's no pattern, period. And that's our starting point, right? This no pattern other than maybe 30-minute high, the 220 put spreads. PCAR, no patterns, whipping around. No, it's whipping around, but it's a bear gap actually, but no pattern. Not this is a third military today. I'll come back to them. Triple M. I sold puts on this myself. I forget what strike I did. The 143 I did. So I have $14-15 of comfort. I'll just close it out at a penny at the open. An ELV was a nice buy setup, but now it's damaged a bit. Yeah, GM is a monster gap. And I don't know what to do with that. NDAC gapping up 30-minute high. What's great idea? DGX 190. All right, that's a big gap. That's a call spread idea. All right, DGX, I will put in a window. Call spread idea. Al. It's a bullish turn on support. I also was looking to sell puts on this, no premium. Now it's gapping up too much. Looking at my sector, I immediately looked up at the oil sectors to see how much that would be affected. The big story with the dollar, with the dollar being supported here. I've been saying these things are on borrowed time. Gold, silver. I mean, look at that climate. But we needed a turn on the daily. And I think today I think today is the turn. Let's see what happens. I did look for call spreads in the sector over the weekend, and I didn't find a single one because individual stocks, not many of them have weeklies, and then it's the same old problem with spreads or inadequate premium. All right, this thing, PNR doing nothing. Galaxy. It's it looks like it's gapping all-time highs. Floppy bull rectangle. And then BMI. This was the one I said if it opened flat. I liked it as a bottoming pattern. So because this 5-minute bar is wow, $5 wide. But that is a nice bottoming pattern. Our TEL moving again. It hit my 233 alarm already. We sold a third pre-market and we just set a new higher alarm about 236. Man, this thing, that's an igniting gap. This is on the weekend letter. But look at it whipping around. I'll put it in a window to keep a better watch on it. TEL. our SEM up alarm. We bought that yesterday, looks great. I'm gonna put a stop here now. Let's do an alarm 1380. Up alarm 1405. All right, that looks good in the video. We did a foot spread yesterday. I got an early low alarm. Looking at the fangs, Google is the weakest, Amazon the strongest. But in the video, it's an early alarm. It's far away, the foot spread. ESAB alarm. That's the continuation breakout. It looks like the gap up hit my alarm. That's possible 30-minute high. I will reset the alarm. Mr. ESAB, about 123.55. QGen alarm. That was a 123 in the weekend letter, and I had already moved up break even yesterday. So I say we can sell a third in the strength, 49.35. Bib is triggering. Oh, I already posted. I already posted a target yesterday, so that's why my up alarm went off. All right, so it was met the alarm. Let me just set it higher now, 49.60. Actually, I'll give a new target. How about 49.90? 49.90, because it's looking good now. Puts. I'm not comfortable with that right now myself. LDOS. Yeah, you mentioned yesterday, look good. Look at this GE. Wow, look at that. That would turn out to be a gap and go. I said visually the gap was not that excessive.
XLK not looking too healthy, and the Russell's down near yesterday's low already.
Yeah, that's why Trent knows what he's doing, but yeah, I'm a little careful on swing longs right here unless it's something like GE or I said our bib triggered, so that's fine. That's a quality pattern, but triple M I set an alarm. I don't know if that was real or not, but yeah, I had a 153 alarm. All right, so it's now been 5 minutes. So I can close this one out. Wow, my 143s are 13 cents. I mean, I'm shocked because I thought they'd be a lot less. Well, now it dropped 5 cents to 13, so I'm gonna bid 6 pennies to get out. Go high bid. Hey, eBay looking fantastic. We can move stuff break even now. Well, yeah, we always like using the charts to get better juice, 100%. No, 9503 is too tight on eBay. So no, I can't move it yet. But I want set an alarm to break even. Remember that Elon Musk? I wish I gave it on Friday. That's still performing well, but I'm gonna delete watching it. Out of my triple M on that bounce, Alex. I know you're in it too. Yeah, plug looks like a day trade short, definitely. Big old kind of M top looking thing. Yeah, remember these mineral stocks? Remember I was pounding the table on these, Climos and call spreads. I mean, our analysis was dead on. I on this gap down, I just couldn't get a good midpoint. But that looks like a day trade short. That looks like it's headed to the rising 20, which is still a couple dollars lower.
The high volume strike for SPX moved up to 68.35. Seems kind of crazy.
ESAB up alarm. I'm just not comfortable with longs right now. That's too sloppy. I have a 15. I'm not rushing into that at all. A target up alarm. We're in this from yesterday. Set new alarms, 93. Our cost basis is 91.66. I will set a break even alarm. SEM. Oh man, this thing's spready. I wonder it's whipping around like that. I just put an offer out at 13.88, and that's me right there. So that is a good sign to suggest it's going higher, because I went low offer and they took it immediately. Hell, I moved, stopped at break even already, and we sold a third, so we'll let that play out. Q's new low. Glancing up. Oh, our Nvidia not looking so good. That's an ugly 15-minute down bar. And Guggenheimer. I tried doing a put spread yesterday, but I canceled it because there was no fill.
Views have gone duller.
Then Meta, we did not get filled. But those were Meta and Kiss were from yesterday. Remember Kiss, Alex? You were making fun of the put spread. That's working. Marcus fine. Titan stuff. $83.80. Titans. 85.40. Oh, I already typed that yesterday. Oh, we're in good shape on Merck. We closed half yesterday. It's fine. Yeah, I saw diamonds. Yep, diamonds just made a new high. Yep, nice 15-minute chart. So that looks like it's going to keep plowing through that. Kind of like this, little meat grinder. But my question is it going to do it by itself if the other three are selling off? Coding, nice 15. I do not like it as a swing. This is a picture of what's not fluid, but I love the 15 for day trade. So I'm not in a day trade long mood right here. Yeah, middle chart, I see that actually. Yep, so it just means stay away. That's what that means. This DGX I mentioned as a possible call spread. That's whipping around. One of these mineral stocks, I had an alarm up here at 83. Buy setup. Let's see, when they come down that hard, You know, you just don't expect a new high, but I have it as a put spread, but Oscar